Have you ever replayed one moment in your head so many times that it started controlling your life? Not because something terrible happened, but because your mind refused to let it go. One awkward sentence, one strange look, one mistake, one laugh from across the room, and suddenly your peace is gone. This is the story of a young man who lived like that, a man whose mind would not let him rest, and the strange lesson that finally changed his life. Because one day, a wise old man gave him a bowl of stones, and what happened next taught him something most people never learn. So as you listen, ask yourself this: how much of your life has been controlled by what other people might think about you? If you felt that way before, type yes in the comment section. There once lived a young man named Leo. Leo was thoughtful, quiet, and sincere. But he had a problem that was slowly draining the life out of him. He overthought everything. If someone greeted him without warmth, he thought about it for hours. If two people whispered while he walked past, his mind immediately turned against him. If he made even a small mistake, he replayed it again and again until it felt 10 times bigger than it really was. The world around Leo was not always attacking him, but his mind was. That was the real problem. Every night when the village became quiet, Leo's thoughts became loud. He would lie awake staring into darkness while his mind dragged him through every awkward moment he wished he could erase. Why did I say that? I should have kept quiet. They must think I'm foolish. I embarrassed myself. People probably see me differently now. His thoughts never stopped. His mind felt like a courtroom where he was both the accused and the judge, and there was no mercy inside it. By morning, his body looked fine, but inside, he was exhausted, tired of thinking, tired of caring, tired of feeling weak because of things nobody else even seemed to notice. Have you ever felt that way? Like one small moment followed you all day? Like your body moved forward, but your mind stayed trapped behind? One day, after another sleepless night, Leo heard people talking about a wise teacher who lived far from the village near a quiet lake. Some said the old man understood the human mind. Others said he had helped people find peace. Leo did not know if the stories were true, but he knew one thing: he could not keep living like this. And so he left the village and walked for hours until he reached the place where the teacher lived. It was quiet there. The lake was still. The wind was gentle, and outside a simple home sat an old man with a calm face, a bald head, and a neatly kept white beard. Everything about him was peaceful. Leo stood before him and finally said the truth he had been carrying for too long. "Master, my mind never stops. I care too much. I replay everything. I feel trapped by what people might think of me. Even when nothing is wrong, my thoughts make me suffer. I want peace, but I don't know how to find it." The old man listened quietly. He did not interrupt. He did not rush. He simply looked at Leo with calm attention, as if he understood more than Leo had even said. Without saying a word, he pointed to a bowl of stones beside him and told Leo to carry it. The old man had placed the stones in the bowl for another purpose before Leo arrived, but when he saw they would be useful for Leo's situation, he decided to use them for Leo instead. Then the teacher said, "Take this bowl and walk through the village market." Leo frowned. "That's all?" The old man nodded, then added, "Do not drop a single stone." Leo was confused already, but then the teacher said something even stranger. "And while you walk, pay attention to every insult people throw at you." Leo stared at him. Every insult? What kind of lesson was this? But the old man said nothing more. So the next morning, Leo lifted the bowl onto his head and walked toward the busiest part of the village. The bowl was heavier than it looked. Both hands had to steady it. His neck tightened, his shoulders strained. But his breathing changed. By the time he reached the market, he was already tense. The market was full of life and noise, merchants shouting prices, children running, people bargaining, footsteps, dust, voices from every direction. At first, people only looked. Then came the whispers, then the laughter. A man near a stall smirked and said, "What is this?" Another laughed and said, "Has he lost his mind?" Someone behind him shouted, "Look at that fool carrying rocks!" Laughter spread. Leo felt heat rise into his face, his chest tightened, and then, just like always, his thoughts turned against him. They're all watching me. I look ridiculous. They think I'm stupid. This is humiliating. His hands grew tense. His breathing became uneven. He tried to focus on the bowl, but then another laugh came from his left. But he glanced. That single moment was enough. His concentration broke. His foot shifted on the dusty ground. The bowl tilted. And then, crash. The stones spilled everywhere, across the market floor, under people's feet, against the legs of stalls. The laughter grew louder. Leo stood frozen in shame, staring at the mess. He wanted to disappear. Without saying a word, he gathered what he could and returned to the teacher. When he arrived, his voice was low. "I failed," the teacher asked. "Why?" Leo almost laughed in frustration. "Because everyone was staring at me. They laughed. They mocked me. I heard every insult. I felt every eye on me. I couldn't focus." The old man nodded. Then he filled the bowl again and placed it back in Leo's hands. "Try once more." Leo looked at him in disbelief. Once more? After that humiliation? But before Leo could protest, the teacher said, "This time, imagine the stones are your peace of mind." Leo said nothing. The old man continued, "Do not watch the people. Do not follow their laughter. Do not chase their voices. Protect your stones." That was all. No speech, no long explanation. Just 4 words that would soon change everything. Protect your stones. Leo lifted the bowl again. This time, the weight felt different, not lighter. But more important, when he entered the market again, the noise was still there. The same stalls, the same dust, the same people. And soon enough, the same laughter. "There he is again! The fool came back!" Someone laughed loudly. 2 women whispered. A man said something mocking from the side. But this time, Leo did not look at them. He fixed his eyes on the bowl, on the stones, on what he had been told to protect. Step, breath, step, breath. The voices were still there, but Leo kept walking. A laugh rose behind him. He did not turn. Someone made another joke. He did not respond. His mind tried to pull him back into its old pattern. "They're talking about you. You should look. You should defend yourself. You should care." But every time his thoughts pulled him outward, he brought himself back to the same thing. The stones. Step. Breath. Step. Breath. And little by little, something began to change. The noise did not disappear, but it became weaker, not because the people had stopped, but because Leo had stopped feeding it. For the first time, he was not giving all his attention to the voices around him, but he was guarding something more valuable, and by the time he reached the other side of the market, not a single stone had fallen. Leo returned to the teacher and carefully set the bowl down. His face looked different now, not proud, not excited, just relieved, almost peaceful. He looked at the teacher and said, "Master, this time I didn't hear a single insult." The old man nodded. Then he said the words Leo would never forget. "The market is the world. The people are the noise of life. And the stones are your peace." Leo stood still. The teacher continued, "When you focused on the noise, you dropped your peace. But when you focused on protecting what mattered, the noise remained, and yet it no longer controlled you." Those words hit Leo deeply, because in that moment he understood something painful and true. Most of his suffering had not come from the world itself. It had come from how much power he gave the noise. Not only real voices, but imagined voices, feared voices, replayed voices, assumed voices. He had been handing over his peace again and again. Every time he chased approval, he dropped his stones. Every time he replayed embarrassment, he dropped his stones. Every time he let someone else's opinion become more important than his inner peace, he dropped his stones. The teacher looked at him and said one final thing. "Peace does not come when the world becomes quiet. It comes when you stop letting the world inside your mind." Leo lowered his head, because now he saw it clearly. The problem had never been just the market. The problem had been his habit of abandoning his peace to chase the noise. And that day, standing beside a bowl of stones under the open sky, Leo learned what most people spend their whole lives trying to understand. The world is not thinking about you as much as you think it is. Most people are busy carrying their own fears, their own worries, their own pain, their own invisible bowls of stones. And even when some people do laugh, even when some people do judge, even when the noise is real, you still have a choice. You can focus on the noise, or you can protect your peace. From that day forward, Leo did not become perfect overnight. He still had anxious thoughts. He still had moments of doubt. He still felt old habits trying to return. But now, whenever his mind began dragging him into fear, he would stop and ask himself one simple question. Am I focusing on the noise or protecting my stones? And slowly, that question changed his life. Because freedom did not come from controlling the world. It came from refusing to let the world control his mind. So now let me ask you honestly. What is one thing you have been overthinking lately? Not the polished answer, the real one. Because sometimes naming the noise is the first step to taking your peace back. And if this story gave you even a moment of calm, subscribe. Because the next story might change the way you see your life too.